How do you exist? Not why, not where did you come from, but how. When we are born, things don't exist to us the way they do now. Something is heard, something is seen, something is felt. But any particular thing that is heard, seen, or felt is not experienced as particular. Everything is just one big experience. Splitting that singular experience, that singular body, into pieces takes time. As we develop the appropriate skills, individuals come into existence from that undifferentiated whole. They begin to exist, from Latin ex, meaning out, and sistere, meaning to stand. Though something is before this point, individuals are not. They are there in some sense, but not as particulars. When truly existent particulars do come into being, this makes new things possible, namely new relationships, no longer just the whole knowing itself as whole, but parts of the whole knowing themselves in part. This allows for the value and admiration the deceiver seeks, other parts looking to them to change and inspire change in the world. It also allows for the depth the griever looks to, infinite in its relation not only to all other parts, but to that ineffable whole particulars have sprung from. The unique vantage of this infinite relation is what the griever has as their focus, the way that they, as a particular, are still that infinite depth they come from. This is where the quote used in the previous video's description, "You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop," fits in. If melancholy is based on the fear that our depth will be stripped away or defiled by our interactions with mundane reality, Holy Origin reminds us that all things spring from that depth and still are that depth. The griever has learned to look for that depth from particulars, from themselves as individuals and from other objects, rather than seeing these objects from depth. Depth is seen as something they possess, and other objects do not, when in reality, depth belongs to reality in all its forms. This implies two things. For one, depth is not theirs. They are truly and inescapably ordinary, as mundane as the objects and people they often disdain. On the other hand, depth is inherent to their existence, as depth is part of reality, and they are expressions of reality. This does create a paradox, where all things become both special and ordinary. This is the paradox Holy Origin can hold, our unique identities being impossible to threaten while being capable of both infinite depth and total mundanity simultaneously. The goal is to accept both fully, being willing to accept our ordinary state while seeing the profundity in more and more forms. The core problem arises when we learn to associate reality's uniqueness strictly with our preferences. We develop a taste that sees this as special, deep, or profound, while that is ordinary, base, or ugly. There's a truth to these judgments. They reflect part of our individuality in the form of our preferential viewpoints, but the truth of Holy Origin is deeper. Just as the drop in the ocean contains the whole ocean, is an expression of and result of the ocean, thereby having the ocean as part of its identity, so does that base or lowly person or object contain the entire universe. All things are precious and beautiful in their interconnections, the unimaginably intricate structure that is their individual expression. When we look strictly to our preferences for this sense of profundity, we subject origin and depth to finitude, to scarcity. Our preferences cannot always be satisfied, so if we tie our sense of depth to those preferences, we will routinely be disappointed. Those preferences are themselves precious, as previously stated, but they are not our source. Any loyalty we have to self is admirable, and the ability to see depth in anything due to our discretion, while many fail to see it at all, is priceless. But the rejection of the world in melancholy, rather than protecting individuality, actually restricts it, makes it small and subject to a death that is not proper to its origin. For envy, that deep sense that this world simply isn't for you, to be replaced with a secure equanimity, one must realize the source of their individual identity, and realize that they are not and cannot be separated from that source. You cannot lose your depth because it does not come from you. It comes through you in every moment. As a cherished expression of the infinite and finite form, your individuality is always protected. This is true even when things don't unfold according to your preferences, and the world around you or you yourself fail to align with your self-image. All comes from and returns to that origin, and all are expressions of origin's depth. Knowing this, we can accept even those things that seem shallow. We can have equanimity even as things unfold in ways we find distasteful. And only with this orientation can we fully be the individuals we are. simultaneously distinct and in relation to all. In the end, regardless of perception, nothing can separate you from yourself, from your source. Depth cannot be lost.